Hello everyone. I've been thinking and I've realized that we've looked at a lot of theories about the Amazing Digital Circus, a lot of thought and analysis, but never on my channel has there been a video completely dedicated to the whole digital circus and all the mysteries that swirl around this mysterious place, which means it's time to put that right. But before you watch the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like it, and leave a comment, because I see how active you are and I love getting feedback from you. I promise you that I will soon make a video where I discuss random comments with you. Maybe it will be your comment from any video that makes it into our selection. Here we go. In this video, you will find out why the digital circus was created, what might happen in the next episode, how our favorite cartoon series will end, and much more. Some of the facts may seem familiar to you, but I promise I will try to reveal them from a completely new angle. First of all, it's worth noting that many of you have known for a long time that the only way to get into the Amazing Digital Circus is with VR glasses, or as it's called, a headset. This means that the digital circus is not just an entertaining show, as Kane was quick to mention in one of the scenes, but a full-fledged game. But don't dismiss the show version out of hand, because it's possible that Digital Circus is an entertainment show for children and teenagers, broadcast on TV and open to everyone. However, we are going to stick with the version that our favorite digital circus is a game, because it is hinted at in one of the fragments of the game's trailer that you can see at the link, which was shown to us as an advertising banner in the scene with Kane in the restaurant. I'm sure many of you have seen this trailer, but I haven't seen any analysis of this video, probably because no one really pays attention to it. But it is the one that can reveal to us the mystery of what the digital circus is and what its main purpose is. Some people took this link as a joke and did not check what was there, and some people might think that this link leads to a site with merch and also decided not to check. But if you decided to check it out and clicked on the link, I think you were really surprised at what you found. Let's get to the bottom of this. One of the first images shown to us is a strange image of very poor quality, but the most important thing is the inscription, which tells us that this recording was once lost and then restored by someone unknown. But the most important thing is the next inscription, which should tell us the date of creation of the digital circus. Since it was never given to us, we can try to analyze everything and find out the real date of the circus creation. And not only that, remember the fragment where we are shown some characters, so in one of the frames we were shown the actor Jack Black. This actor is the voice of Kung Fu Panda, starred in the cult film Jumanji, and much more. But how he is involved in the digital circus is still a mystery. But since the whole digital circus is full of secrets and references, maybe it's the person's name that matters to us, rather than their identity. If we invert the name Jack Black, we get Blackjack. Maybe it's a hint that the digital circus is as interesting a place as where Blackjack and... But let's not talk about that, because it's all dangerous, and don't mess with that. And that phrase also means to do something too well, and apparently that's what our digital circus was going to be. I also immediately noticed a man dressed exactly like our administrator Kane. At one point, a phrase comes out of his mouth about looking at what Kane should have done and what he could have done. In other words, the Kane we see in this creepy trailer and the Kane who appears in the digital circus are completely different characters. After all, Gooseworx itself confirmed a long time ago that Kane is an artificial intelligence. So I can safely say that this person is just an actor hired to film a commercial for a new game. And yes, the Amazing Digital Circus is definitely a game. If you look at the main menu, you can see the basic buttons: play, options, and quit. Well, as soon as we pressed the play button, we were immediately shown footage from the pilot episode of Digital Circus. This is impossible, you will say, even though this video was definitely shot on a VHS tape, and such videos were used as advertisements about 20 years ago. Well, I can tell you that all this is very easy to explain, and perhaps to find the answer to the main question of the digital circus. What was the digital circus created for? At the end of the so-called trailer, we can clearly see the scene where Kane is teleported into the game itself. So we can be sure that not only Pomni, but everyone else got into the digital circus in the same way. And since we never saw the head of the man in the commercial, we can be sure that he also had a headset on his head. But I think it was just added to the game, moved inside his body by the AI, and the actor himself was released into the real world. And before I continue with the mystery of the purpose of the digital circus, I would like to finally convince you that this trailer was created about 20-25 years ago. Everyone noticed the processor that was presented to us as an innovative technology, but we noticed that the design and all the elements of this processor are very similar to what Intel did more than 20 years ago, because it was in 1997 that the Intel Pentium 2 processor was introduced, which is very similar to what we saw in the mysterious trailer. As a result, we can safely say that this work was created in 1997. Having understood all this, I can safely say that the action we saw in the pilot episode took place in 1997, and all we are seeing is an old shot with a modern treatment. But why would someone broadcast the same thing at different times? Remember, I said it was a game, but I was a bit misleading, I'm sorry. Yes, Amazing Digital Circus is indeed a game, but its creators decided to broadcast all the players' actions in real time under the guise of a cartoon show. This means that people saw it not only in 2023, but also in 2017 and 2011 and so on. Every year, the creators improved the quality of their recording and constantly broadcast the game in different countries, so that there was no repetition of the same thing in the same country, because hardly anyone will be interested in watching the same thing every year. But since it was a game, players could not only enjoy their favorite game but also follow other players in real time. In the end, we can say that people accidentally enter the digital circus through a headset and unfortunately become hostages to the reality in which they find themselves. And the purpose of all this creepy and large-scale project was nothing more than financial gain, because of the great interest in this game and, consequently, in the series that broadcast the players' actions in real time. Too bad they didn't know the truth. So let's talk for a moment about the unusual maze we were shown. Does it remind you of anything? Somehow I'm absolutely certain that this maze is a large and obvious reference to the very room that lies behind the mysterious door marked exit. And as we know, the maze always has an exit, so the main task will be to find the right way out. Perhaps our Pomni was able to find the right way after many attempts, but unfortunately the last test was to sneak through the void unnoticed. And just as a fun fact, the maze is very consonant with the word amazing. At the very end of the trailer, it was suggested that the reality of the digital circus is limited only by the imagination of the characters. And this is a very important and interesting phrase because we remember that Pomni kept seeing the same door with an exit, but the others could not understand what Pomni was talking about because no one else had seen anything like it. After all, even the circus itself is called a digital circus, which means that it is not quite real, but just invented by someone. And in this case, we can say that it is Pomni's imagination and belief that it is quite real to get out of the circus. So imagination is the key to getting out. But why can't anyone else think what Pomni thinks? I think it's all about Kane, who has been telling all the inhabitants day in and day out that there is no way out of the digital circus, and in doing so he has managed to limit the imagination of all the other characters, and he has also managed to deprive them of the belief that they will ever be able to return to the real world. And so they have to accept the fact that they are trapped in the digital circus forever, and they can't even think of getting out. But we have the main character, Pomni, who is the only character who is not lacking in imagination, which means that in the next episode we might see the continuation of this whole story. But what will it be? Let's think about what will be told in the next episode of this amazing digital circus. I'm 99% sure that the next episode will be about Pomni and her adventures. After Kane realizes that Pomni is a real threat to his life in the circus, he decides to reset her memory because his powers in the digital world are limitless. And for the first part of the episode, we see Pomni as a very ordinary inhabitant of the digital circus, humbly obeying Kane and carrying out all his orders, as well as taking part in whatever adventures Kane comes up with for his charges. But from about the middle of the episode, we can see how Pomni gradually begins to remember absolutely everything that happened in the digital circus, up to the moment when she lost her memory. And having remembered absolutely everything, Pomni will begin to devise a plan to sneak through the void without Kane noticing, and at the climax of the episode will end. It will be a shame, but the writers have to keep the intrigue with the audience, and the best moment for the intrigue is not to be found. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment. Now it's time for me to wish you success and good luck and say see you in the new videos that appear every 2 days.